dare I say that it looked like it was a lot of freaking fun in downtown Minneapolis on Saturday night. It's Jason. Welcome to Drive Time. You know I like scooters. I also am concerned about the huge number of motorized vehicles, motorized bikes, scooters that have no speed limit on them. Kids are riding all over the place in their neighborhoods. We've heard from emergency room doctors that there's a danger, that there's a concern. I also am concerned about reckless vehicle drivers and reckless motorcycle riders. I'm not concerned about one night 500 people showing up in downtown Minneapolis and riding around the streets. I think people need to lighten up. People need to remember what it was like to be young. And also take heed in the fact that on a summer weekend, the biggest news story in Minnesota is that 500 people showed up on scooters and rode from US Bank Stadium through parts of downtown. I just can't find the outrage meter in my heart on this issue. I can't find it. 651-461-9226. Jonathan wants to call it Scootergate. Maybe it is Scootergate. I think this issue is a Rorschach test as to whether or not you're a conservative or a liberal. I would like to hear from a right or center-right Republican who would say, you know what, I think this looked like fun. Because I'm pretty sure if you're mad about this, you're probably using this as a proxy for concern about, are we lawlessness? Are we out of control? Are we letting bicyclists or pedestrians take over the streets, protesters even? I think people in the streets just triggers this visceral response where for years we've been conditioned to be mad about it because it must be protesters or it must be, it's the bicycle people. Whose streets? Our streets. Remember that when they were taking over the street? Was there this much outrage back in the mid-2000s when the bicyclists were doing those things when they were taking over the street? I don't remember that.
No, but there was similar outrage when protesters around George Floyd's murder were taking to blocking up freeways and stuff. A lot of these same arguments about emergency vehicles and whatnot that came up.
This is a good text. People are outraged because the scooter mob is a sign of the anarchy that is the city of Minneapolis. It was exactly the same when the kids were just having fun a couple years ago, lighting off fireworks all over downtown Minneapolis. Exact same thing. It's anarchy. So here's my challenge to you on this. If you take every time when you have a group of people doing something that, yes, perhaps technically there were some misdemeanors committed. Now, I'm not talking about the ding-dongs who went on the highway. If you go on the highway on a scooter, you are putting your life in jeopardy. You're putting other people's lives in jeopardy. It's incredibly reckless. But going 15 to 20 miles an hour, because 20 is about all those Lime scooters can get up to me is not the same as launching fireworks from your car in downtown Minneapolis. I think the launching of fireworks was extremely reckless and dangerous. I think we're just conditioned to freak out about these things because exactly what this texter is saying. It feels like lawlessness. But isn't this the sort of lawlessness that you could say harmless fun? That's where I'm at. I'm at harmless fun. Maybe you can convince me that I'm wrong. Jonathan is on the CCO Talk and Text line, 651-461-9226. Jonathan, I know, the lawless mobs roaming the streets. You live downtown. You've seen some of this before. Where does this land for you?
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Hi, Dan. Hello, Jason. And by the way, I do have to tell you, I was out and about on Saturday night. I did see these people,
Oh, yeah.
these children rolling around downtown. It was a little unnerving because it's a trigger for a lot of
Of
people
course,
when
yeah.
you see a bunch of people and it's like protest alley and here we go, right? My first thought was, oh my God, what is going on? And then I was like, oh, they're just having fun. Okay, but when as a society have we become to the point of where kids can't have fun anymore?
Yeah.
If you can't have fun on a dang scooter without people going screaming, get off my damn lawn, what is wrong with society as a whole that these kids were trying to do something fun on a Saturday night that's not going to pew-pew you walking down the damn street? That's where it's concerning to me that this is where we are in our country.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think to me, like, there's a lot to like about what happened. The fact that young people organized this so quickly, like it was a TikTok thing. There's a yearning to do stuff in person, in community together.
Right, exactly. See, here's the thing, Jason. What you're forgetting is that you have a platform for good. And for you, what you could do is say, hey, on a Saturday night, if you listen to my show, let's all go to dinner at a certain restaurant and meet up there and have a fan base kind of thing where you could like do a thing and you can pay me for that later. But, you know, at this point, the world that we're living in, whatever you can do to bring yourself a little bit of joy and a little bit of happiness, do it.
Thanks, Jonathan. That's very
Love
good.
you guys.
Thanks, Jonathan. Thank you. Now, Nicole points out the different side in an email, and you're always welcome to email the show, jason@odyssey.com. Jason, I was headed home from a wedding reception on Saturday night. Found myself in the middle of the scooter takeover that you seem to think was just harmless fun. It was scary. These people were riding these scooters everywhere, going the wrong way on the road into oncoming traffic. The last thing I wanted to do was hit someone riding a scooter. Street construction already makes driving downtown tricky, but that was dangerous and lawless. Be glad no one was seriously hurt or killed. When did following the law and respecting people's right to live in a neighborhood of peace and order become optional? My daughter lives in the North Loop neighborhood. She pays real estate taxes for public safety. Maybe the next scooter takeover should happen in your neighborhood or when your wife or kids are on the road trying to drive safely. Do better as a public figure. So I like that email until the do better. We can disagree about stuff without like, do better, bad take. It's just we have a different opinion. I think you can clearly draw the line between the people riding through the streets and the people who are on the highway. I think that, yeah, you should be safe, like driving to oncoming traffic is stupid. Yes, we can tut-tut about all the things. I also think, like, you shouldn't be riding on the sidewalk. It was probably around the time the Savannah Bananas thing was ending at Target Field. Like, I also think if I were parked in the middle of that, I would have had the same reaction that Jonathan did. And the same reaction as Nicole, who emailed me, did, which is, this is alarming. Like, what is going on? If you are parked and then all of a sudden here are a couple hundred scooters. But I guess I hope that after that initial, like, what's happening, I would have laughed because it's funny. Because it's kids riding and young people riding scooters. It's fine. Dave's in Andover. Dave, am I wrong on this? Am I just like, am I equating this too much to like TPing the neighbor's yard on homecoming week?
You know, I get your point of view, definitely, Jason, but I think the issue for me gets back to these are kids. Some of these people are not old enough to drive. They have not been taught the rules of the road. They're allowed to ride motorized vehicles. And then we get upset that they're not following the rules that they were never taught. So I think the issue has to be, if you have an event like this, first of all, I think the legislature needs to make some laws about who is allowed to ride public streets on motorized vehicles. That needs to be done. Somebody's going to die just without even these big events. And then if you have a big event, maybe get a permit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that'd be the right way to do it, right? Like, if you could, certainly, to me, if I were working for the city right now, I would be thinking, like, man, do we need to close off Nicollet Mall at night and let people do this? Is there a desire for this sort of activity? Is there a way we could channel this into something positive? Like, I think your point is very valid. Like, and my view on this, even though I'm saying I enjoy this, I think that this is not something to freak out about. I also don't think like this should be a weekly occurrence, right? Like people just taking over the streets. The streets are for cars. You are legally allowed to ride a scooter in the street, but obviously people were running red lights and going the wrong way and all of that stuff. Like we can't, for safety, you can't do this all the time. But could we, instead of just tut-tut, oh no, the sky is falling, anarchy in Minneapolis, say like, all right, how do we tap into the fact that, like, obviously, and these aren't all kids, some of these are people in their 20s, but, like, could we make this good? I think that would be positive.
Yes, I think, but I think unless the legislature steps in, you'll never get a big group of people to begin with to all obey the rules.
Yeah.
But if half of them don't know the rules,
it's a good point.
Then they see some ding-dong going on the freeway, they're just going to assume it's all right. So you really need these motorized vehicles. There needs to be some rules about riding them.
Agree with that.
That's just my opinion.
Thanks, Dave. Let's pick up on Dave's point because I think that is the real issue here. I personally think that this streets takeover is not a real issue. It just isn't. But I do think that the issue of scooters and e-bikes in our neighborhoods is an issue. Should we legislate this? What law would you pass?